Okay, so how do you get a better memory, right? What do you do to improve your memory? How do you, like, do better on a test? Like, for example, like get material down that can help you, manage an assessment more effectively. Remember things more effectively. Well, it turns out that we call like strategies, right? Learning methods, right? For improving memory. We call these mnemonic devices. And that's spelled Mnemonic. So a mnemonic device, right? And this includes like probably the most effective of all the mnemonic devices is to utilize, Sherlock's mind palace to actually have a set of locations or places that you kind of proceed through. You go from here to here to here, from one location to another. And it can be inside, kinds of rooms in a house or, places around a neighborhood or something like that. And if you're asked to remember things like objects or individuals or experiences to sort of place these various, things that you need to remember, along the path, along these locations, and sort of traverse and go from location to location. This is called the Method of Loci. And loci, that's location, right? So the Method of Loci is, there's these memory Olympics where, people can remember, vast strings of, words and things like that. And, a lot of them utilize this, what's called Method of Loci, to sort of place objects that need to be remembered, in specific locations. It's actually really interesting. It sort of mirrors, storytelling, right, to some extent. Like I start here and this happens and it involves this and that, and then I go here and, and then it involves this and that and these objects and these people, and then I go here. So the brain is kind of set up to learn and remember, based upon storytelling and the story form, which involves sort of traveling from place to place usually. So the Method of Loci is an excellent mnemonic device. It's one I would highly recommend for trying to remember, lots of things, put them together in the form of some sort of tale or story. Then there's also rehearsal, right? Just practice to go over it again and again and again, right? There's also depth of processing. So not just like, writing notes or reading notes, for example, but maybe taking notes, right, off of some other source, utilizing multiple sources, singing, what it is you're trying to remember, drawing it in multiple colors, telling somebody else basically about what it is you're learning or studying, listening to somebody else tell you their understanding of the topic. So all of these, ways to get at the same, sort of idea that you're trying to remember, but utilizing multiple sensory modalities, right? Multiple methods that will increase what they call the depth of processing, and it's more likely to cause changes in neuronal connectivity that will reflect the learning and allow for later recall of the material. Then there's the isolation effect. That's get out your highlighter and basically highlight specific key words or terms. And that's also called the von Restorff effect. By highlighting it, it makes it pop out, and it's something when you're going over it, you can sort of then, go back and just scan the highlighted sections. There's a bit of chunking going on here because those highlighted terms, for example, or phrases, actually represent like broader concepts or more aspects of a topic, for example, that's highlighted. One of the things about, the isolation effect and highlighting, if you're highlighting everything, you're not isolating, specifics. You're doing too much. You should highlight selectively and have those, individual terms or phrases represent, a larger sort of chunked, part of what it is you're trying to remember. So, in terms of preparing for assessments or trying to learn something that you gotta, kind of present on, recall, for something, definitely the Method of Loci is, the very best. That storytelling form that involves, moving from place to place and sort of putting objects and events that need to be remembered along the route is extremely useful. Rehearsal, practicing, going over material again and again is also extremely helpful and useful. Depth of processing, trying to look at the same material in multiple ways, right? Using multiple sensory modalities. Again, singing I find actually sometimes is quite useful. Novelty actually helps also. Like if you can make it unusual, it tends to stick better. The isolation effect, sort of highlighting specific aspects. That'll then to some extent be chunked. You have this piece that you're remembering actually represents and encompasses like a whole bunch of other items that you can now recall because you've got something highlighted, or this keyword brings back these other related concepts. So hopefully this all helps.